And so for this week, your homework was the Bedouin paragraph and the Tuareg paragraph. I think you just had the Tuareg to do this week. By the way, we're done with grammar. Woohoo! Party! I saw you grab your grammar book. I'm like, nope, done. So we don't have any grammar to do this morning. You guys are done with that. A lot of my students say, can I burn my book? And the answer is no. Don't burn your book. Don't burn your book. Ask your mom or your dad what they want you to do with it. Give it to them. Okay. They'll decide what to do with it, but they might want you to keep it just in case you need to look back on it. I mean, you never know. Easton?
My dad wasn't really good at grammar when he was like a kid, so he would probably say burn it.
Well, that's between you and your dad. I'm not promoting that. That's all I'm saying. Oh boy. So anyway, in your binder though, I do have a page that I want you to get out from your binder. It's the last one we're going to use, and it's kind of ahead in another week. So let me share my screen so you know where it's at. Go to the source text tab, the first one. This one, source text, and it's going to be page 195. So keep turning, and I'll zoom out here so you can see it. Keep turning until you see page 195. It looks like this. It says at the very tippy top, it says writing a letter. We're not going to write a letter, but we're going to use this page for something else. And it says keyword outline conclusion. Take it out and then close your rings. And then that's all you need today. Okay, so just take this one page out, page 195. Close your rings. Don't forget that. And then you can set your binder aside. And we're going to talk about this page today. We're just borrowing this page from a different lesson because we didn't quite finish the book this year, but we got pretty close. But this is the last thing I want to teach you. Go ahead, Easton.
Once I open this page and I flip over to the other side on accident, this story has 5 paragraphs.
Well, technically, no, this has four because
Four?
so yeah, if you think of it like this, these two middle paragraphs are Bedouin and Tuareg. You already have those done. Okay. The first one is your introduction, and the last one is your conclusion. So even though it says Roman numeral 5 right here, it's not. It's going to be your fourth paragraph. So you are going to write four altogether. But the good news is for you, Easton, you already have the two middle ones done. And we're going to write these together in class. So I can tell you're like, ah, but it's not that bad. I promise it's not that bad. These are easier. These are easier. Have you ever heard of an introduction or conclusion before? Give me a thumbs up if you have. If you're not sure, give me a sideways. If you know you haven't, give me a thumbs down. Okay, I see both. So an introduction is the very first paragraph of your essay, and that you can remember it by when you introduce yourself to somebody for the first time. That's the first thing you learn about somebody is their name, maybe. So think of introduction as the first paragraph. The conclusion, which is on this page, that's your last paragraph. So that's what you're going to say at the very end of your essay. Some essays are 5 paragraphs. Some essays are 10 paragraphs, seriously. Either way, you will have an introduction and a conclusion, no matter how many are in the middle. Okay, Easton, do you have a question?
Yeah, I'm turn. Um, is this the last class, or do we have like more?
We have one more class next week, but
All
next
right,
week, all
so
we're doing, hold on, all we're doing next week is just sharing our report and playing a game. That's all we're going to do next week. So
okay,
this is your last week of homework.
I might not be there next week because our school did a thing where they have like free passes to a water park, so we're gonna be at a water park the
Oh,
whole
how
time. So
fun. So this might be your last class. That's okay. That's
yeah,
but this is the last week of homework for me, so I'm wrapping everything up this week, so you'll be done after this, okay? Um, anyway, oh, go ahead, Kaden.
If I don't finish it in that time, could I do it or could I finish it the next week?
Yeah, you can. So you just wouldn't share it with the class, which is fine, Kaden. It's okay. Try to, but if you can't, it's okay. I know you got a lot to do. So you could just say, you could just let me know ahead of time, or I'll know on Google Classroom if it's ready or not. So it's okay. Anyway, but we'll still play a game together. So that'll be fun. All right. So this page, and I was just telling you about the conclusion. So it doesn't matter how many paragraphs you have to write, the conclusion goes at the very end, and the introduction goes at the very beginning. And that's what we're talking about today. On this page, it starts with the conclusion. And you might be thinking, why are we starting with the last paragraph first? Well, it's because it's the easiest one to write. They start out easy, and then the introduction is a little bit harder to write. So let's talk about this. First thing I want you to put is a note on here at the top. Next to conclusion, I want you to write last paragraph, just so you remember this goes at the end. This is your conclusion. This goes at the end of your report. So it's going to go after your paragraph about the Tuareg people. Notice down here, it says keyword outline for conclusion. Now, we've always done keyword outlines, so I know you're familiar with those. But for me on this, for the first time, it's easier to just write out the whole sentences. So we're going to write out the whole sentences here so that when you sit down to do this part of your homework, it's going to be pretty much done. Okay. And notice the V here, that stands for a Roman numeral 5. But technically for us, it's going to be 4 because that was what Easton was talking about earlier. This report is going to be 4 paragraphs. So I want you to just kind of trace that V, and then right before it, put a 1, and then you're going to put a line on top and the bottom. That is Roman numeral 4. A 1 first and then a V. That's Roman numeral 4. So really, that's what this is. We're not doing 5 paragraphs, so we're only doing 4. Okay. And then notice how it says topic A, topic B, topic C, and then most significant and why. This is an outline on how to write your conclusion. So we're going to look at each part. Topic A, topic B, topic C. Up here, under this, it says restate the topics. Write a sentence or two about each topic. Try to convey the main idea of each body paragraph. Highlight or bold the topic keywords. All right, I'm going to have you kind of write small. If so, try to write small here. Right on top of where it says topic A, I just want you to put the word Bedouin, Bedouin. Try to write it small. And then right on top of topic B, I want you to put Tuareg. Those are your 2 topics. Those are the paragraphs you already wrote about. So now we need to come up with a sentence about both of those in a minute. But notice that does say topic C. We don't have a topic C. So we're just going to cross this out. We're not going to use that one. Okay. So go ahead and cross it out on yours. You only have a topic A and a topic B. Your topic A is Bedouin. Topic B is Tuareg. You already, well, I know Caden's still working on yours, but Easton, you already have those paragraphs done in the middle. But those are the topics, okay? So now we need to think of, this is at the end of your report. So you need to think of a sentence about the Bedouin people that kind of summarizes who they are for the conclusion. And we talked about how these people are nomads. Remember that word? We talked about nomads before. They're these people that don't have a place to live. They just are always traveling, always moving from place to place, right? So that's who these people are. So I think a good sentence here for the Bedouin people would be, and we're going to have to write small here. So sorry if it's hard for you to write small. Just try to squeeze it in. I'm going to put the Bedouin people live in different places. Try to squeeze it in. in the, squeeze it in here, Sahara Desert. I know this is really for your keyword outline, but for me, since this is our first time, we're going to make these sentences so we can kind of figure this out before you even start writing it. The Bedouin people live in different places in the Sahara Desert is my sentence. Meaning they don't just live in one place. They move around from place to place. Thumbs up when you got that sentence written down. Okay. Okay, good. I see that. Now for the Tuareg, we need to think of a sentence that kind of summarizes who they are. And this is where I think it would be good to mention nomads. So as we're doing this, just a little reminder, these paragraphs do have to have the dress up words in them. So you will have to find a spot, which I'm going to help you do that today. You do not need to do the topic clinchers for these. That's the good news about the introduction and conclusion. It doesn't follow the same topic clincher rule. But I do want you to put a box around the word Bedouin because that is the topic of, that's one of your topics here. So when you go to type this later, Easton, you're going to highlight or bold the word Bedouin in that sentence, okay? So when you put a box around it, that's to remind you about that. The Tuareg people, I'm going to put here by topic B, the Tuareg people are known as nomads, period. The Tuareg people are known as, oops, I forgot my S here, as nomads. By the way, as is an Asia word, so let's underline it so we can remember to use that later. The Tuareg people are known as nomads. Go ahead and put a box around the word Tuareg for that topic. So we talked about the Bedouin, that's your first topic, and we talked about the Tuareg, that's the second topic, or topic A and topic B. Give me a thumbs up when you got that done. Looks like you both are done. Okay, good. Now moving down, it says most significant and why. So let's check this paragraph up above. It tells us what to do for that. What is the most important, most interesting, or most significant thing to remember about all that you wrote and why? You may choose one of your topics and tell why it is the most significant, or you may choose something that tells the importance of the entire subject. Remember, your entire subject is the nomads or the people of the desert. Your topics are Bedouin and Tuareg. So you can decide which you think is the most significant. I'm going to give you an idea here. If you like mine, you can copy it. If you think of a different one, you can put yours. Okay. But right here, this word, these words, most significant, we need to start this sentence here that says the most significant thing, oops, spell that right, about nomads is, okay, so we're going to start with that. The most significant, C-A-N-T, NT, the most significant thing about nomads is, I think it's interesting. I think the most interesting thing about them is that they use their animals to carry everything they own, basically. They use the camels to carry their stuff. And then, of course, the goats are their food and milk, right? They walk with them. So basically, they have everything they need with them. So the most significant thing about nomads is they use their animals to carry everything they own. You can copy that. I'm fine with that. If you think of something different later and you want to change it, that's okay with me too. The point is, you're thinking of what is the biggest thing that you got out of this research about these people. And for me, I thought it was cool that basically they have everything they own goes with them wherever they go. Like when we go on vacation, we'll pack a suitcase, we'll put some clothes in there and stuff you need in the bathroom, like deodorant and toothbrush and all that kind of stuff. But we don't take everything we own when we go on vacation, right? I mean, that would be like your bed, your furniture, your toilet, your everything you need, right? And you wouldn't do that. There's no way you could do that because we don't live like that. We go on vacation and pack the stuff that we need and then we stay in a hotel. But these people, that's what makes them so different than us. They don't have much. Number one, they don't have, furniture that they take with them. But what they do have, they take with them everywhere they go. Easton?
Speaking of, I'm gonna go to the mountains to like camp,
Oh, yeah,
like a week
that's
and
fun.
2 days probably.
So
It's
when
like next week on Saturday.
okay, cool. When you guys go camping, you probably bring some extra things like pots and pans and things to cook with, right? That you wouldn't
Yeah.
normally take with you, but still, yeah, you don't take everything you own. But I love camping. I love it. We
The
enjoy that.
thing I always forget whenever we go on a vacation is packing. Like the day before, I'm like, oh my gosh, I have to pack.
Oh, whoops.
Like, yeah,
Yeah, that's funny. Just
my
grab a
dad packs
bag.
like 2 minutes before we go. Like,
You're like, hurry, hurry, pack my socks, pack my underwear, pack
yeah.
all my pants and everything. That's funny. Are you going somewhere where it's going to be warm? Like maybe bring your swim trunks, maybe go swimming, or do you know?
Well, there's a place we've gone there for like 5 years now, like every single year.
That's cool.
And it's like in the mountains, there's like a bunch of lakes, there's snow, there's fish. That's the reason we go, is because of the fish. And
Okay.
we go with friends sometimes, so it's fun.
That's so fun. So you go fishing. That's so cool. Well, good luck. I hope you catch some great fish and maybe you can eat them while you're there. That'll be cool. Super fresh. All right. Um, and then it says why here. So we need to explain why this is significant. So I'm going to word it a little different here and I'm going to say this is interesting. I'm using interesting instead of significant because they are always moving from place to place. They are always moving from place to place. You can keep using the space below if you need more room here. So it basically says the most significant thing about nomads is they use their animals to carry everything they own. This is interesting because they are always moving from place to place. So we're telling why. Go ahead and underline that word because too. And you can underline carry because that is a good strong verb. So far we have an Asia word a strong verb and a because clause. We need a couple more. We need an ly word, and I have a spot for one unless you guys can think of one. I think right here, going back up to what we said about the Tuareg people, maybe we could say the Tuareg people are typically known as nomads. So right here, we'll put a little arrow and write the word typically. Typically is a good ly adverb. That's an I right here. Typically, typically. Typically is how you spell that. I know we're squeezing stuff in everywhere, but I thought I'd help you with your dress up so you don't have to think about it later. We need one more. We need a who which clause, and I found a spot for that too back up here. After desert, when we talk about the Bedouin, if you cross out that period and put which is, if you have room, in Africa. You can put it on the side over here if you need to squeeze it in somewhere, but it right here, and I'm going to underline which. So it says the Bedouin people live in different places in the Sahara Desert, which is in Africa. That's a good spot for a which clause because that's where the Sahara Desert is. It's in Africa. And then the Tuareg people are typically known as nomads. The most significant thing about nomads is they use their animals to carry everything they own. This is interesting because they are always moving from place to place. There's your paragraph. It's done. See, I told you it was going to be easy. So all you have to do, Easton, is type it in your spot for your last paragraph. Okay, this is the last. Did you guys get all that written down? Give me a thumbs up if you got it. You have a question, Kaden? Go ahead.
When when we go to type it or write it, are
Yeah.
we gonna put like the Bedouin, the top, or the just the most significant?
Yeah, that word, I know. So I think you're asking about like topic clincher. Is that what you mean, like topic clincher?
Are we gonna do like the topic A and topic B?
Yes. So all of this that we just wrote right here, all of this is your last paragraph. So you'll start with the Bedouin and you're going to highlight Bedouin. So the only thing that's different about the rules here is you're going to highlight Bedouin and Tuareg, and that's it. It's not the same rule as the topic clincher, okay, for your introduction and your conclusion. So you're just going to use all of this starting right here. The Bedouin people live in different places in the Sahara Desert, which is in Africa. So you're going to use this as your last paragraph. Does that answer your question, Kaden? Good. Okay. So now let's turn this page over to the back side. And this one is your introduction. Remember, introduction is your first paragraph. So go ahead and write here first paragraph. This is the very, very first one. So when you go to write this one goes before your paragraphs about the Bedouin and the Tuareg. Okay, this is the very, very first paragraph. And notice down here, it says keyword outline for introduction. And then it starts with a Roman numeral 1. My thing is glaring here. There we go. This is a Roman numeral 1 because it's the very first paragraph. And the first thing we need is called an intention getter. And guess what? They tell you what it is up here. So let's read this part up here where it says attention getter. Start your introduction with a sentence that encourages your reader to continue reading begin with a question, a fact or statistic, a very short sentence, or an image. When they say image, they don't mean like literally a picture. They mean like a sentence that gives the reader an image, like telling what it looks like. Okay. But I got to tell you, since this is your first introduction paragraph you've ever done, or you've probably one of few, the easiest thing is to start with a question. That's the easiest thing. So what you want to think of is a question for your reader to go, wow, I don't know what that is. I want to know more about that. For me, well, let me ask you guys this. Did you know what a nomad was before we talked about all this stuff? Caden says yes. Easton says yes, maybe kind of. But nomads, we don't really read about very often. So for me, that's pretty interesting to start with. So I might start with a question like, have you ever heard of a nomad? That would be a good question to start with. Or do you know what a nomad is? Question mark. Or have you ever wondered who the nomad people are? Something like that, where it's a question and we're including that word nomads. Do you guys have any ideas of a question using the word nomads? Do you have any ideas? Your brain is fried. That's what I say. Brain is fried. I'm at the end of the school year. I'm done. I can't think anymore. Okay. Well, good news is I can help you with this. Okay. You got this. I'm going to say, and we're going to write kind of small again here. Have you ever heard of people, squeeze this in, squeeze it in down here, who are called nomads? Have you ever heard of people who are called nomads? And the reason why I use that word who is so we can underline it as one of our dress ups here. Okay. So remember, we got to figure out how to squeeze those in. Kaden, did you have a question?
I thought about another one.
Okay.
What is a nomad and what do they do?
Oh, I like that too. Yes. And if you would rather use that, you can later, or you can copy mine. Mine has the word who in it, so we can use that as a dress up. But yeah, what is a nomad? That's a great way to start. A simple sentence. And it's a great question because your reader, the person reading it, might go, I have no idea. What is a nomad? Never heard that before. The point is to put something at the very beginning to make the person want to read the rest of it. If you put something boring like, this is a report about people. If you start like that, the person reading it is going to go, what? This is a report about people. Okay. Like they're not going to be like, ooh, I want to find out more. But if you go, have you ever heard of people who are called nomads? That you might get, it makes the reader think like, have I? I don't think so. I don't know. What is a nomad? And then of course we're going to tell them. Next, it says background. And here's what it tells us to do. So look up here at this paragraph, tell your reader what the subject of the composition is about by making a general statement about the subject. Our subject is nomads, okay? Then provide background information you think would be interesting or important. The background information should flow into the introduction of topics. And remember, your topics are Bedouin and Tuareg. So we got to tell a little bit of background here leading into your topics. So we could say something about how the nomads don't have homes, really. They don't stay in one place because they always travel. So let's put something like that. Remember later, if you got to change your mind on this, you can. I'm going to say, oh, and I'm going to start with a ly adverb. Remember, we're trying to find spots for these. So let's start with surprisingly. I kind of like that one. Surprisingly, comma, you can underline that as our ly adverb. Surprisingly, nomads do not have homes. They gave us a little more room here to write. Because they are always traveling through the Sahara Desert. Always traveling through the Sahara Desert. And I used because. So let's go ahead and underline because. Oh, and traveling. That's a strong verb. So we got a lot of our dress ups already. We got 4 so far. We need 6, remember? So I put, surprisingly, nomads do not have homes because they are always traveling through the Sahara Desert. This is where we move on to our topics now, okay? And up here under topics, it says, end your introduction by listing the topics you wrote about in your body paragraphs in the same order they appear in the body of the paper. Highlight or bold the topic key words. Did I already tell you about the sandwich idea? Did we talk about that already? I'm trying to remember. So let me tell you. Think of your essay as like a sandwich where you've got the bread on top and the bread on the bottom. And then in the middle, you've got turkey, ham, cheese. I know I'm making you hungry. I'm already hungry myself. But think of that. Go ahead, Easton. Did you want to say something?
So one time I was like in a school, it was only like 2 hours. And it was like a private school. And she would like teach us, it was like, but it was like a hamburger.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
So it was kind of like that. It was just like a hamburger.
Yeah, I remember that. I sometimes talk about hamburgers too, but you're right. So, okay, let's go with the hamburger theme. I kind of like that a little bit better because they're both bread, right, on the top and the bottom, but the top piece is a little bit shaped a little different than the bottom piece. The bottom piece is like flat. The top piece has like a little mound on top, the way the bun is, when you're eating a burger. So, but they're both bread. So think of that with your introduction is the top piece of your bread, and the conclusion is the bottom piece of your bread. In the middle, you've got your other paragraphs about like the Bedouin and the Tuareg. But your introduction and conclusion are going to be very similar, but not exactly the same. Because you don't want to repeat the same stuff exactly, because that's boring to read too. You don't want to be boring. You want to make it interesting. Okay. So here we are down to topic A and topic B. We don't have a topic C, so we can cross that one out, right? We just have the the Bedouins first and then the Tuareg. So your topic A was Bedouin. We can say something like, the Bedouin people are one group of nomads. So let's put that. The Bedouin people are one group of nomads. Squeeze it in here. The Bedouin people are one group of nomads. And this is where we're going to put a box around Bedouin because you're going to highlight that topic. Notice it's not in the first sentence, and that's okay. You can highlight, this is different. The rules are different for the introduction and the conclusion. You don't need a topic clincher for these. You're only highlighting your topics, and your topics are Bedouin and Tuareg. So that's it. That's all you're highlighting here. And then for the Tuareg, we could say something like another tribe is called Tuaregs. So let's put that. Another tribe, whoops, is called Tuaregs. And then, of course, a box around Tuaregs here. So you're introducing, remember, this is the first paragraph. So you're introducing these groups of people. The Bedouin people are one group of nomads. Another tribe is called Tuareg. So you're introducing them. You're saying, hey, this is what they're called. So far we have these dress ups. We have, oh, we can underline one because that's an adjective. That works for that. So we have who, surprisingly, because, traveling, one, and all we're missing here is an Asia word. So we need to fit in one more sentence. So I have an idea here. Because I like, Asia words are when, while, where, as, since, if, although, and we're not using because we already used that for a because clause. So at, when, while, where, as, since, if, although. Those are the words we have to choose from. And I have an idea, so you can write this down. I'm going to say down here, and let's draw an arrow from desert to this part because we're going to add it to the end of desert. We just don't have room up there. So we're going to use it down here. I want you to put since, because that's our Asia word. Since they are constantly on the move, they bring all of their possessions with them. You got to squeeze it in down here. Possessions with them. All right. So the sentence says, since they are constantly on the move, they bring all of their possessions with them. Now we have all of our dress ups. And we filled in all of the parts to this outline. So this whole thing becomes a paragraph. And since we have a little bit of time left in class, the first thing I'm going to do is talk to you about your checklist, but then I'm going to have you start writing this down. This is your first paragraph. So, oops, hold on. Dropping things here. Okay. Thumbs up if you got all that written down. You guys have it all? Do you have it, Easton? Did you write it all down? Okay, good. Look at your checklist. Notice you only have 2 rows of boxes here, but we're adding 2 more paragraphs. So you're going to have to add some more boxes here for those paragraphs, okay? So you can just like draw them in. Hold on, I don't have any more blank. Let me show you what I mean. Hold on just a second here. You can just add a couple rows of boxes here is what I'm saying, like this. This is going to be so you have something to check off for your introduction and your conclusion. And basically you're highlighting, the only words you're going to highlight is Bedouin and Tuareg in both of those paragraphs. So you don't have to do the topic clincher, but you do need all of these, which you have them. So that's the easy part. Okay. So go ahead and get out a piece of lined paper, a clean sheet of lined paper. Next. Put your name here. And today's date is 5/23/24. Okay. Skip a line, and you're just going to draw a blank here, a line there, because you're going to still need to come up with your own title for your paper. And your title needs to follow the title rule. Remember on your checklist, it says the title centered and repeats 1 to 3 key words from final sentence. So once you're done writing everything down and you write your conclusion from the very, very, very last final sentence, that's how you're going to come up with your title. Okay. It has to have at least one word from that sentence here, but you can make this up, whatever title you want it to have, and then skip a line. And now this is where we're going to start writing down what we wrote for your introduction here. And we started with the question, have you ever heard of people who are called nomads? So skip a line and indent and start with the word have. Have you ever, I know you're going to type this later, but I want you to write it all down in a paragraph so that when you go to type it, it's going to be even easier. Heard of people who, skip a line, make sure you're skipping, are called nomads? Question mark. And underline who. Have you ever heard of people who are called nomads? So this is where I'm getting my sentences right here from that little outline that we filled in. You can keep going. The next sentence says, surprisingly, comma, nomads, make sure you skip lines, do not have homes because they are always traveling through the Sahara Desert. I know I write fast, but I'll give you guys a minute to catch up there. And we're going to underline surprisingly and because and traveling. So go ahead and write that down. Give me a thumbs up when you got it. Oops, I forgot a letter there. H. That's a GH. It looks weird. Anyway, I don't know how to fix it. THROUGH is how you spell through. I see that. Good job. The next sentence, I know you're still writing there, Kaden, that's okay, is where we drew that arrow. See how we draw that arrow down here to the word since? This is the next sentence right here. So copy this one next, Easton, where it says since they are constantly. So we're going to add that here. Since they are constantly on the move, they bring. So you're just copying that down, that sentence on your outline there that starts with the word since. Okay. So far we have you ever heard of people who are called nomads? Surprisingly, nomads do not have homes because they are always traveling through the Sahara Desert. Since they are constantly on the move, they bring all of their possessions with them. Hey, you got it, Caden? Okay, good. Next, we have topic A and B, and this is where on your outline here for the introduction, remember this is your first paragraph, we have the Bedouin people are one group of nomads. Another tribe is called Tuaregs. So we're going to add those two sentences and then we're done. Okay, so you can start with make sure you're skipping lines here. Bedouin people are one group of nomads. Another tribe is called Tuaregs. And this is where if you have a highlighter near you, you would highlight Bedouin and Tuaregs. If you don't have a highlighter, you can put a box around him like this. But on your final copy, those are the only two words that you're going to highlight. You're not going to do topic clincher. This is a little different format, like I said earlier, for your introduction and for your conclusion. From here, this would be a new paragraph about the Bedouin people. You already had that done. I know Easton has yours done. So this is where the paragraph about all about the Bedouins go. You know how it talks about how they drill for their own water and they trade their goats for things they need in the desert. They have a solar refrigerator. Remember all that stuff you learned about them. All that goes next. And then the Tuaregs. The Tuaregs are the ones that are like blue men. Remember that part? Because they wear the blue cloth and their skin turns blue. Talk about all that in your Tuareg. And then the very last paragraph will be this one that you did with me. The conclusion on the back of this page right here. You're basically just going to copy this for your conclusion paragraph. And then you're done with your report. Make sure you give it a new title. And that's it. Do you guys have any questions about all that? So by next week, I know you're working on it, Caden, so don't worry about it if you can't get it done. But Easton, try to get it done by Wednesday next week. The introduction, the conclusion, and I like that you're typing it. So try to type all that together, give it a title, and then you can turn it in. Caden?
After I write the Badon and Torek, am
Yeah.
I gonna write this on a different thing?
No, it's all going to be together. So now that you have this, you already have like, are you planning to type it, Caden, or are you going to handwrite it?
I'm gonna handwrite it.
Okay, so you already have your first paragraph done. So here you would start your paragraph about the Bedouins, okay? And then you would turn it over and keep going. You're going to need more than one paper because this is kind of a long report. Finish up about the Bedouins and then write about the Tuaregs. And then you're going to write your conclusion. Does that make sense? So you put it all together in one big paper. You're going to probably need it, like I said, a second page. So between the two papers, you're going to put it all together. Okay. Good question, though. How about you, Easton? Do you have any questions for me? Okay, well, it's a miracle. We're 4 minutes early. Good job, you guys. I will see you next week. I might not see you, Easton, but if I don't see you, have fun. And then hopefully you'll take my class again later.
All right. Bye-bye.
Okay, bye-bye. Bye, Caden.
Bye. Have a good weekend.